allowance is cut. Well, turning now to the Philippines, where millions of children have returned to school after one of the longest COVID lockdowns in the world. Filipino children who are still required to wear face masks queued to enter their classrooms in many locations. Around half of the country's schools have now resumed face-to-face classes, but the rest remain partly online. Now, reopening had been delayed by slow vaccine rollouts and elections earlier this year. There's concern about the impact on children's education, with teaching now disrupted for almost 2.5 years.
I like attending face-to-face classes because it's fun to bond with my classmates, and I finally got to see my teacher in person.
Here you can actually enjoy learning and actually meet the persons you see in Zoom classes. And when you're learning online, it doesn't feel like fun.
So lovely to hear that children are so excited about returning to school. And we can speak to someone who I imagine is also very excited today, Beatriz Cruda, whose 10-year-old daughter is returning to school on Wednesday for the first time since the pandemic. You must be so excited, Beatriz. Your daughter is returning to in-person schooling this week. How is she feeling, and how are you feeling?
Yes, my daughter is excited to go back to school and see her classmates. She says it will be easier for her to listen to her teacher and that she wants to play with her classmates. I think it's important for kids to have fun while learning. The past 2 years has been challenging for her and for us parents as well. One challenge was the slow internet connection, so we had to upgrade our internet connection. Another challenge was making her stay focused during her online class and making sure she does not fall asleep or play computer games or like watch YouTube. And then another challenge was motivating her to do her schoolwork because she had a lot of homework. It doubled than when she had her regular classes, so we had to hire a coach to help her do her schoolwork. So it has been a challenging 2 years. So we're really relieved that she's going back to face-to-face classes.
Yeah, and I hear you, Beatriz, about the challenges that you faced while having to look after your daughter at home and educating her. We only had a lockdown of schools for a short time here in Singapore, but certainly that sounds very familiar. But now that she's going back to school, what are some of your biggest concerns?
My biggest concern is that the schools need to strictly follow safety protocols, and that I think the government needs to step up the vaccination drive and to have more kids vaccinated and boosted. Right now, kids under 12, like my daughter, doesn't have booster shots yet. The Department of Health has yet to come out with the guidelines. I think these are measures that are important to ease parents' worries when having their school kids go back to school.
Beatriz, just looking at the decision to have schools closed for as long as they were in the Philippines, given the situation with the pandemic there, did you agree with that decision at the time? Do you think that it was the right thing to do?
On hindsight, at the beginning of the pandemic, there was a lot of fear, especially from parents sending their kids to school because of the high infection rates and high death rates. And many of the families here in the Philippines have extended families. We have grandparents living with us. But I think over the course of the 2 years, the government could have slowly transitioned to face-to-face classes. They could have stepped up the vaccination drive early on and have the general population, the kids, the teachers vaccinated early on, and that they could have helped the schools start blended learning. So, but it's all on hindsight. But, and I'm just glad that we're going back to face-to-face classes. And I think that's the way forward.
And just briefly, Beatriz, what are you hoping for your daughter to achieve in this school year now that she is going back to school?
I want her to have fun while learning. I want her to play with her classmates. The past 2 years, she was cooped inside the house. She's an only child. She didn't have anyone to play with. So I want her to have fun while learning.
Oh, well, we wish her the very best, and you as well, Beatriz Cruda. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much.